Hey guys, welcome back to this SQL tutorial course. In this session, we will learn how to work with user-defined functions. So these are the two types of user-defined functions in SQL. We have scalar-valued functions and table-valued functions. We'll start with the scalar-valued functions. So as the name states, a scalar-valued function always returns a scalar value. So a scalar value could be int, varchar, date, and so on. And this is the syntax for a scalar-valued function. So we'll type create function and then we'll give the function name. And inside the parenthesis, we'll specify the names of the parameters and their data types. And since the function is going to return a value, we'll type the returns keyword and specify the type of data which will be returned. After that, we'll type as begin and then give the function body and then return the final scalar value. Finally, we'll use the end keyword to end the function. So let's go to SQL Server and create our first scalar valued function. So I'm going to create a scalar valued function which will take one integer value, add 5 more to the original value and return the updated value. So let me type the syntax for that. Create function and then I'll give the function name which would be add 5. And inside the parenthesis, I'll pass the first parameter. So I'll name the parameter to be num and this would be of integer type. After that, I'll type the returns keyword and then the type of data which we'll be returning is also of integer type. After that, I'll type as begin and since all we have to do is add 5 more to the original value, so I'll not write anything inside this. So I'll directly type the return keyword and inside this return keyword, I will add 5 more to the parameter value. So that would be @num plus 5. So what we are basically doing over here is the value which is sent as parameter inside this function, we'll take it and add 5 more to that value and then return it. And finally, I'll type the end keyword to end this function. So let me hit execute. Right, so we have successfully created this add 5 function. Now let me go ahead and call this function. So to call the function, I'll type select and then I'll have to type dbo dot and then I'd have to give the function name which is add 5. Now let's say I'll pass in the number 10. I'll select this, I'll hit execute. Right, so we see that this function works properly. So I've sent 10 and the result which we've got is 15. Similarly, let me send 100 as the parameter. Now I'll select, I'll hit execute. Right, so the value which is returned is 105. So this is how we can create a scalar valued function. Then we have table valued functions. So these table valued functions return a table instead of a scalar. And this is the syntax for a table valued function. So here the return type is table. So after the returns keyword, we'll type in table because we are supposed to return a table. After that, we'll give the keywords as return and then give in the select statement. Now you need to keep in mind that there are no begin and end keywords for the table valued function. So let's go to SQL Server and create our first table valued function. Now I'll be creating a function which would help me to individually extract the male employees and the female employees from the employee table. So before I do that, let me actually have a glance at the employee table first. So I'll type select star from employee. Right, so we have this employee table right in front of us. Now let me go ahead and create the command. So again, I'll type create function and then I'll give the name of the function which would be select gender. Now inside the parenthesis, I will pass in the parameter. So I'll name the parameter to be gender and this would be of varchar type. So as varchar and the length would be 20. After that, I'll give the returns keyword. And since this is a table valued function, the return type would be table. So I'll type as return and then give in parenthesis. And inside the parenthesis, I will give my select statement. So the select statement would go something like this. Select star from employee where gender is equal to @gender. So this gender is basically the gender column from the employee table and this @gender is the parameter which will be passing inside this function. So let's say if the user passes the value male inside this function, then we'll be extracting all of the records where the gender value is male. Similarly, if the user passes the value female inside this, then we'll be extracting all of the female employees from this table. So let me select this, let me hit execute. Right, so we have also created this select gender function. So now using this function, let me extract all of the male employees from the employee table. So to do that, the syntax would be a bit different. Select star from, and then I'll type dbo dot and then give the name of the function, which would be select gender, and inside the parenthesis I will pass in the value, and since I want all of the male employees, I'll type male over here. Right, so I'm typing select star from this because this will basically return a table, and from the table which is returned, I would want all of the records. So let me select this, I'll hit execute. Right, so we have successfully extracted all of the male employees from the employee table. Similarly, if I'd have to extract all of the female employees, the syntax would be similar. So I'll type select star from, and then I'll type dbo dot select gender, and then I will pass in the value female. I will select this, I'll hit execute. So again, we have successfully extracted the female employees from the employee table. So this is how we can create table valued functions in SQL. So thanks for attending this session. Let's meet in the next class.